Long story short, my father cheated on my mother with my stepmother. My wife, in our 7-year relationship, 4 dating, 3 married, has never met my father, stepmother, half-siblings, step-uncles, or my step-grandfather. My mother convinced my wife she didn't want any of them at the wedding or have any holidays with them the entire time we've been together. My wife was cheated on in the past, but moved past that. Or so I thought. My wife and I recently found out we're having our first child, but my wife isn't excited or happy at all because my mother told her that my father cheated on my mother once she got pregnant. Yes, that's accurate, but it was before either of my parents knew my mother was pregnant with me. Now my wife is convinced that I'll cheat on her because she's pregnant. My mother just says, "You're your father's son," which is really making me angry. But because my wife hasn't met my father, she says that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. She says she trusts me, but she cries every time my phone goes off. My stepmother, who I call Mama, says not to vilify my mother and to be a supportive husband. She even bought me some things to pamper my wife with because she deserves to be loved and pampered like the beautiful woman she is, and pregnancy is tough on women's bodies. I love my wife. She makes me whole. There will never be anyone but her. How can I get my wife to calm down and enjoy her pregnancy? Or convince her that I will not cheat on her? 1 month later, a lot has changed. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post. My wife and I are grateful, and hopefully, my head is firmly out of where it shouldn't be. My wife has joined an online book club with a lovely group of women who I've met. She's made friends, and the majority of them are moms, so they have plenty to talk about. With permission from my boss, I changed my work hours so we could spend more time together. She's much happier now, and has been talking to a therapist about her insecurities. It's a work in progress, but that's life. And our baby is developing very well due to reduced maternal stress. I now call my stepmother by her first name, not Mama anymore. She wasn't upset at all. My wife has met my grandfather, my stepmother's dad, and my uncles, my stepmother's brothers. And they got along really well, especially since I got a pie to the face and they all laughed at me. Her laughter is the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. My mother was given an ultimatum: therapy or no contact. She refused therapy, saying there wasn't a thing wrong with her. My mother and wife have been out of contact since, which has been good for our relationship. Then something unexpected happened. Someone in my messages got into my head about the paternity of my half-siblings. So I talked to my family about genealogy and learning about where our family came from. One of my uncles suggested we just make our own episode of Maury. My stepmother said it would be pretty boring but agreed if that's what we wanted to spend our time on. So all of us kids took DNA tests. My sisters didn't want me to be left out. I mean, I had the test as a baby, no true surprises, right? 4 out of 5 kids matched our father. The one that didn't? Me. The one kid my dad was sure about. Several tests later, they all agree. My dad isn't my biological father. Dad's upset. I'm upset. I haven't told my wife because I don't know how to say it without sounding like a crazy person. I'm a little lost and overwhelmed. Another month has passed, and there's more to share. My dad and I went through with a paternity test through a doctor. Same result. I also did a genealogy kit and made the results public so I could try to find my biological father, but nothing yet on that front. My wife has met my whole family now, and it's amazing. She's even talking about renewing our vows so they could be there this time. She apologized for the hurtful things she said and even offered to have our baby paternity tested with a promise for the most boring paternity result ever, meaning the baby being mine. I trust my wife. We're a team, and I love her. When my stepfather gave my mother my paternity results, she reportedly screamed, "That witch!" I believe that was a reference to my stepmother. She claimed my stepmother tampered with the results to make my mother look bad. Things were thrown, and a lot of other things were screamed about my dad and stepmother. She is now completely cut off from me and my wife. Her daughter, my half-sister, has been temporarily removed from her care and is living with my stepfather's parents until her paternity results come back. My other sister is my stepsister. so she's safe. My stepmother has completely busted the evil stepmother myth for my wife. Their relationship is relatively new, but they've been getting along well with my sisters. They've even talked about starting their own book club while they wait for the baby to arrive. 2 months later, I have happy news, but I'm also absolutely furious. My wife was staying with my dad's family because my mother tried breaking into our house. When my mother found out my wife was there, she tried to break in there too. When she broke into my house, I called the police, but they let her go with a warning, even after I tried to press charges. They said, "She's your mom. You don't want to do that to her," they said. But at my father's house, my mother broke in through a living room window and was confronted by my stepmother. My mother hit my stepmother over the head with my grandmother's urn. My dad called the cops, but not before my grandfather punched my mother. Both my mother and grandfather were arrested. I immediately took my wife to her mother's house while my uncles went to bail out Grandpa, who was apparently having a grand old time since it reminded him of his military days. My stepmother is recovering, but given her age, it may take some time for her to fully heal. My dad and I are pressing every charge we can against my mother because I'm done with her behavior. On a more positive note, I found my biological father's family, a wife and 2 sons. I have 2 half-brothers who were very surprised I existed. My biological father passed away suddenly 3 years ago, but I've connected with his family. Apparently I look just like him. I'll never truly know his side of the story, but I know that he married his wife when I was 4 years old, and his wife has no idea who my mother is. They're very nice people who are eager to meet in person. My little sister's paternity results haven't come back yet. My wife has assured me that she and the baby are okay. Through all of this, my grandfather has been a rock, saying that his daughter being home from the hospital is reward enough, and his family being safe is what matters most. This journey has taught me that family isn't defined by blood, but by love and loyalty. My dad, the man who raised me, is my father in every way that matters, regardless of DNA. I've lost a toxic relationship with my mother, but gained new connections with my biological father's family and strengthened bonds with my stepmother and her relatives. Sometimes the people we expect to support us can be the ones who cause the most damage, while those we've been taught to avoid can become our greatest allies. The lies we're told can shape our perceptions for years, even decades, until the truth finally emerges. In the end, creating a safe, loving environment for my wife and child means making difficult choices about who gets to be in our lives. While the journey has been painful, it's led to healing and new beginnings. What matters most isn't where we came from, but where we choose to go, and who we choose to take with us along the way.